So we're back in the basement. Fun times down here. I think in the last video I said we were going to put 2 posts on this beam, but I changed the plan. We are now only going to put 1 post, and doesn't look like it's quite center, but it's going to go right here. Our beam here that's spanning 17 feet and bowing down about an inch or 2 in the middle is also quite squishy at the bottom here. I can push that in. What do we got? A solid, like, nearly 3/4 of an inch before I hit solid wood again. That combined with how these are notched out for the floor joists, I'm honestly surprised it's not worse. These old growth timbers are super strong, apparently. Let's follow the load path. There will be a post. The beam sits on the post. This double joist sits on the beam. This double joist goes down there to that post, and then all of these joists are sitting on this. So right here is the most important part of this load path that we're going to create. Yeah. Now, let's take a close look at this. You'd think that there would have been a post here originally, and I thought maybe it was once, and it got removed. See right here and there. That's evidence that maybe at some point something was supporting that. It's really tough to tell with this old hand-hewn timber here. That leaves us to some engineering choices. How big of a footer do we need to put here? Especially considering the squishiness of this. Let's walk through it. I think the best way will be to measure the flooring area and do some other calculations to determine how much potential weight is currently on this, and then how much weight our new post and footer will take. As we spoke about earlier in the previous video about the basement, half of this room is on the post, half of this room is on the outer wall. So let's measure this room. "17 feet. We already knew that, though. And that's about 15 feet. So we have about 127 square feet of this room supported by the beam. We'll call that 11 feet. "17 times 11 is 187. So we take the first room, 17 feet by 15 feet equals 255, divided by 2, which is 127 and a half. And then this room, which is 17 feet by 11 feet, divided in half, added together equals 221 square feet of floor. Of course, the stairs, there's no floor in the stairwell, but we're just trying to get a round number, make it easy. We also have the weight of this wall, framing, drywall, etc., as well as this wall on the other side of the stairs, framing, drywall. Plus the weight of the stairwell itself. how does one calculate? These walls also continue all the way up. We do know that the floor joists on the second floor run parallel to the beam. Therefore, none of the floor on the second floor is supported by this beam. This is the gable side of the house. So you have your roof, other side of the roof, and then these ceiling joists run this way. That means none of this ceiling weight is on the beam. These ceiling joists sit on an outside wall and another outside wall. Their load carried by that. What we're looking at then is 220 square feet of floor plus this stairwell and the interior walls. In order to calculate an estimate of the current weight of everything we just measured and talked about, we have to consider the floor itself is 1 inch thick planks, which were original, and then there's 3/4 inch plywood and 3/4 inch hardwood. A little bit of Googling tells me that that assembly is approximately 12 pounds per square foot. If you do the same with these walls that are 2x4 construction, drywall on both sides, that's about 6 pounds per square foot. And we're estimating about 1,500 pounds extra for the stairway and whatever else is up there that we didn't really measure. All of that added up tells us that our beam is holding about 5,000 pounds as it stands. If we're adding a post in the center to take some of that weight off, it really won't be holding all that much, but we still want to make sure it's not going to sink and that it's very sturdy. I should add that the actual load and the design load, what it should be capable of supporting, that would be like a bunch of furniture, a crowd of people. They're much different things. So we're going to at least double that for the calculation. Honestly, probably close to triple. I think design load for like a living room, bedroom is 30 pounds per square foot. So we've established that we'll just say that it is currently holding 5,000, but it should be designed to hold 15,000. That means half of the 15,000 will go on this post. It takes the weight of the mid half of the beam. And then down here is holding 1/4 of the weight, and down here is holding the other 1/4 of the weight. That is taking half the load off of the ends of this beam and putting it right here. Our footer needs to support about 7,500 pounds. If you take a look at the bearing capacity of clay, it's about 1,500 to 2,500 pounds per square foot that you can safely support on this. Since our clay is squishy and we're trying to overbuild, we're just going to go with a 1,500 number. So 1,500 pounds per square foot divided into 7,500 pound design load equals a footer that needs to be 5 square feet. If our post then needs to be 5 square foot, we're going to go a little bigger again, because big round easy numbers are nice. We will make a nice square, 30 inches by 30 inches, which is a little over 6 square feet. That will give us all of the extra possible bearing on this squishy clay basement floor that we'll ever need. Make our house nice and strong. That's what we'll do. Final answer. So what I'm going to do, just to make it easier maybe, start at 1 foot And then every 2 feet, since this is a 10-foot piece of rebar, that's 3 feet, 5 feet, 7 feet, 9 feet, and then the foot on each end is an overlap that can be tied together. It's a little unruly and floppy, but we're doing fine. It's gonna hold things together exactly perfect. Now let's go dig a hole. Should have ordered the 60-pound bags. It's a pretty good first placement, right on the money. We have our laser pretty much centered on where we want this post to go. So I'm going to, we want a 30-inch footing, so I'll measure 15 inches off each side of this beam, and then we'll dig. There's our square. I'll put you in a time lapse and we'll dig this out until it's dry down there. All right, we have our hole. I was thinking I have to go down a foot, but it appears that we're quite solid. And, oh, that's like 11 inches. 10 inches there. That's perfect. A 10-inch footer is plenty strong. I see some water already flowing into here, so we need to hurry and get the concrete in. We have our mixer and our concrete. I forgot to bring my concrete tools here. So a 2x4 finish it is. We're gonna put a 12-inch sonotube out here and put it up to finished floor height, which is somewhere about as high as my hand there. So I'm mounting the concrete up to the center. That way, if any water gets under here, it'll flow off of this into the soil and not puddle up. I'm gonna get things cleaned up here, and we will come back and put the tube on later today once this is set up enough. It's been a couple hours. This is not close to fully cured, but it's cured enough that we can stick the tube on here, the sonotube, and fill it up. Since we're putting these footers in now, long before the floor is in, I'm going to make the top of the footer the same level as the finished floor. In order to do that, we need to figure out what that elevation is. We have this doorway, and this is what we're basing everything off of. The top of this row of block, I've just exposed this one corner here, is what we measure from. And you can see this is just a cement block. When it's all said and done, the stone floor in here will be flush with this block. And then we're putting 4 inches of concrete on top of the stone that will then come out and overlap this block, creating the door threshold. In addition to that, the area right in front of the door is going to be a low point. We put a drain right here. I don't know how we'll transition the floor exactly, but I do know that the floor in the rest of the basement is going to be 1 to 2 inches higher than the floor directly in front of the door. That way, any water that gets into the basement can flow down to this low point and go in the drain. Pretty close. We're just gonna tap this in a little bit. Set that in the teeniest little bit. We're pretty good. All right, time to throw some concrete in there. From past experience, it's pretty tough to have this end up exactly where you want. It usually shrinks a little. So I think I'm gonna leave it, and we'll see if it shrinks down. I couldn't find a trowel, but I did find this piece of angle iron, and that should do just fine. All right, I think we're gonna call it right there. Hey, we're back after a few days. There's been record-breaking floods in the area. Hopefully it didn't affect our basement. Let's go take a look at what things are like down here. Everything looks good so far down here. We got our footing. Looks like it's curing quite nicely. No more obvious structural collapses. Everything looks just like how we left it. Just what I want to see. Let's get this cardboard off of this tube. Well, don't really love the honeycombing, but that's all right. We're just gonna fill these in by hand. Let's see how it feels standing on the finished floor height. That's kind of perfect. I got 2 inches between the top of my head and this beam, and this is also going to lift up an inch or so. I'm feeling good about this height. It also feels good to stand on something solid. Something truly solid that's not going anywhere for the first time down here. We love that. Almost ready to continue our stone layer and fabric layer onward in this direction. One last thing to do though is to replace that pipe coming up. I don't think it's long enough. So we're gonna pull it out and put this one in. You didn't see me use glue on the rest of this because we're not trying to seal those pipes. Water getting into them is okay. I am using glue on this joint, however, because I don't want this to accidentally get pulled out of here somehow. All right, I guess I'm just gonna put you guys in time lapse. And we're gonna fill this area with gravel. We've reached another milestone. This entire area is now full of stone. The next thing we need to do is dig out these two ancient stacks of rocks that have been holding the house up for 160 years and replace them with concrete. This footing is going to be probably like 6 feet long and 30 inches wide, give or take. I'm going to make it, I would like to do it in one piece, so I have a place for these stairs. This is where the stairs are supposed to be. So I can put the stairs back and have them land on something solid. And then I'm in no rush to get this concrete floor in. I really do want to leave this open to the air in order to dry up as much as it's going to throughout the summer coming up. I stopped the stone short of this wall because of this opening here. Once we demo the back half of the house, I need to close this up. That will involve digging out underneath the end of each of these walls and taking all this, we're going to dig a big hole here and fill it with concrete as a footer for this chunk of wall, which will then be either block or concrete. So for now, this is where the stone ends here. That's it for now then. Next up is trying to figure out how to support this beam that these two posts are holding up now without having the whole house fall on us. Ideally, we'd just have like a stack of cribbing here and a stack of cribbing over there with a couple steel beams going across to then lift the load off these posts. I don't have any cribbing, and it's pretty expensive for like a one-time operation. My crazy ideas involve 2 stacks of hardwood pallets with 2 beams across the top. I don't see why that wouldn't work. They can each, a single pallet can hold close to 4,000 pounds of bags of concrete on it, and it's fine. I don't think the combined weight of this would exceed, especially with split between 2 stacks, I don't think it would exceed that, but we don't really know. My other crazy idea is to get a section of heavy-duty pallet rack. One side here, the other end over there, same deal, lift the weight off. I guess I'll have to come back and see what happens. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day. I know earlier in the video we talked about how squishy this is, so I'm actually going to put a 2x8 up here to spread the load a little bit for now, and eventually I'm going to sister an LVL onto either side of this beam, put all these joists into joist hangers. Oh yeah, and this is the point that I keep forgetting to make. Please like and subscribe to our videos. It really does help a lot. We want this channel to grow, and share everything we're doing here with every one of you out there. Thank you.